Welcome to Diesel Laptop's Advanced Heavy Duty Parts Tool Platform. I'd like to introduce you to our CEO and founder, Tyler Robertson. Tyler has over 20 plus years in commercial trucks. His experience in the industry spans these years while his family owned dealerships, he worked for dealerships himself, and then he started Diesel Laptops. One thing that has always attracted me to working with Tyler is the fact that he is completely dedicated to empowering the heavy-duty truck repair and parts industry. He's done so with the diagnostic software and the Diesel laptops that he's sold and helping heavy-duty technicians and mechanics. And now he's turned his attention to parts technicians and the parts industry. I'd like to also introduce you to Nate Knorr. Now, Nate is a parts expert with 20 plus years of experience. Nate worked in both parts and sales in the past, and he now manages our data input teams and parts platforms. I've really enjoyed working with Nate on this project, and he brings a lot to the table when it comes to parts expertise. My name is Jamie Irvine, and I've been in heavy-duty parts since 1998. I started in a remanufacturing shop sandblasting parts, and I worked my way up over 10 years with that company to be the operations manager and the national sales account manager. I now am the sales manager for Truck Parts Premium, and I'm the host of the Heavy Duty Parts Report podcast. You can go to my website, jamieirvin.ca, to get access to the Heavy Duty Parts Report. And I'm very happy to discuss with you the advanced parts tools that Diesel Laptops and this team that I've just introduced you to are leading to bring something completely new to the industry. Now, Diesel Laptops was founded in 2013. It's located in South Carolina. That's where the headquarters is. They have 150 plus employees. And really over the last 7 years, Diesel Laptops, the team there, have developed themselves into experts in diesel diagnostic tools and heavy-duty parts information. Now, when you put all the pieces together at Diesel Laptops, what you get is you get diagnostic tools, as the name of their company implies. But also, Tyler has invested a lot in training. This training comes in digital formats through webinars and online training, and it also comes in the format of in-person training where they have training schools set up around the country. You also get an abundance of repair and parts information. As I said, Tyler is completely dedicated to empowering the industry. And so he has invested enormous amounts of resources in providing this information to you. And lastly, but by no means least, there is a great support network. If you call the help desk, not only do you have the opportunity to talk to IT professionals, you can also talk to former diesel techs, people who actually worked on trucks. They know what it's like, they know what you're going through, and they can help you diagnose and work through challenges. And we also are growing our parts team to be able to give you support there. Now let's turn our attention to the act of buying heavy-duty parts right now. The way we see it is there's really 3 current ways to acquire parts. The first is you can go down to a dealership and you can give them your VIN or serial number. And as long as your truck is the truck that they are selling, so if you're a Kenworth owner and you go to the Kenworth dealership or a Peterbilt or Volvo Mac, or you get the idea. As long as you've got the truck that they represent and they have access to all the parts information through the VIN, then you're probably okay. But there's some challenges there, and as soon as this dealership moves into an all-make situation, they have the same problems that aftermarket distributors do, which is without a VIN number, without using that VIN decoder provided by the truck OE, how do you figure out what part is needed? Well, truck dealerships and aftermarket parts retailers alike rely on the knowledge of a few parts people. And it's been my experience in 22 years in this business that there's usually 1, maybe 2 knowledgeable people at each location. And what ends up happening is this person is completely overworked. there's a lot of demand on their time. Everybody wants to talk to them, and everybody else is struggling to help customers identify the parts that they need. Training takes a very long time, whether you're at a dealership or whether you're at an aftermarket distributor. My mentor told me way back in 1998, he said, "How do you get 20 years experience in this business?" The answer, come see me in 20 years. So the reality is, without access to a VIN decoder, without access to that information, you are always relying on people to memorize things, to remember what parts go where, with which suspension, with which engine, with which drivetrain, with which air system or wheel end. So it just, regardless of what you're trying to repair, you're beholden to needing that VIN decoder or relying on people's memory and knowledge. And that really creates a lot of challenges for people in getting the right part the first time. The third option is to try to figure out what parts you need on your own. Now, Google searches are unreliable. The images aren't always accurate. The information isn't always accurate. And there are hundreds of manufacturers' websites to pour through. So honestly, we don't even look at this as a real viable option because it's just too complex and would take too much time. So what we're doing here is we are trying to create a new standard in parts identification. And it all starts with the concept of identifying parts that you need without a VIN, without a serial number. Moving on from there, it's being able to cross that part to any option you want, OE to aftermarket or aftermarket to aftermarket. And finally, picking the most cost-effective choice for you if you're buying the part directly, or if you're selling the part, identifying the best option, not the cheapest, but the best option for your customer. The foundation for us all begins and ends with Truck Parts Cross. We built Truck Parts Cross with a few guiding principles in mind. One, we wanted to make sure that the database we use for Truck Parts Cross was clean. And what I mean by clean is that there wasn't unnecessary information attached to part numbers. You all know where you go to the other guys and you cross something and you've got dashes and spaces and slashes and people's prefixes and suffixes, and it makes for an unclean database. That data is harder to use then in an effective way. Truck Parts Cross was built with a very, very clean database. It's also 100% free. Truck Parts Cross is available on your desktop at truckpartscross.com, or you can use your iPhone or your Android device and go to your app store and get access to truckpartscross.com today. Now, I'd like to take a minute and actually demonstrate some of the features of Truck Parts Cross. Okay, we're at truckpartscross.com. What we're going to do is we're going to cross a part number here. So let's look at an AS1132. This is a gunite slack, and we're going to select that here. And here we're going to show you a few of the features of Truck Parts Cross. So one, you get a high quality picture, a clean part number, a manufacturer's description, a very accurate description of the part, and your VMRS code. Now here's some of the functions that are kind of interesting and that are useful on the platform. One, you can favorite the part if it's something that you're going to look up more than once. You have a long list of different manufacturers, both aftermarket and truck OEs like International. You have 3 pages of crosses in this one particular cross. This purchasing information is manufacturers' websites for more technical details. Down here at the bottom, you have the ability to comment, to communicate with us and let us know if there's a bad cross or if there's additional information you require. Our team reviews these daily. Under this column of type, what you have is you have the letter D. D stands for a direct cross, meaning it directly crosses from an OE part number to an aftermarket number. You may also see an I here. That stands for indirect cross. That's a situation where you have 2 aftermarket part numbers that cross back to the same OE. They are identical parts manufactured by different aftermarket manufacturers. What we found when we built this system is that there were over 32 million indirect crosses. And so this information becomes very useful in identifying what parts we should stock for who and which parts we don't need to stock on the shelf because they are duplicates. Another thing that's interesting, if you know the manufacturer that you stock, let's say it is Stemco, you type Stemco there and it'll clear out all the different crosses and just give you the one you're looking for. So just another feature to be able to find the part you're looking for as quickly as possible. And so this is truckpartscross.com. Very, very powerful cross tool that you can use 100% free, and it's available on desktop and on mobile. The next evolution in the advanced parts platform that we are developing is called Truck Parts Lookup. You can find it at truckpartslookup.com. Right now, it is available only as a desktop, not a mobile app yet, because it's still in open beta, which means it's still in development. But when you go to Truck Parts Lookup, you get the opportunity to identify parts through year, make, model, or by component and subcomponent. And this is the tool that we think is really a game changer for the industry. Now I'd like to talk for a moment about Truck Parts Lookup's current coverage. Right now you see an image on your screen of 2010 to 2016, and you see all of the common commercial trucks in North America that we are currently working on. As you can see, we've done a lot of work. We've got a lot of them complete. Nate and his team are working on a whole bunch more right now, but we've got a lot of work still to do. This is one of the reasons why Truck Parts Lookup is currently in open beta. It's still in development, and this is the direction that we're going. And that's also why it's not available on mobile, because we're not going to make it a mobile app until the platform is really rounded out. Now, once we get this bulk of the work from 2010 to 2016 done, we're going to stay 3 years behind new trucks. So, for example, in 2023, all the 2020s will be available on Truck Parts Lookup, just as they're coming off of their first phase or stage of warranty. We also intend on going historically older than 2010, and that's just a work in progress. So this is where we are headed. Now I'd like to be able to show you exactly how Truck Parts Lookup works, so let's do a live demo. We are on truckpartslookup.com, and it's time for us to find a part. We click the button in the center of the screen here, and now we have the opportunity to look up trucks parts by make, model, and category. So if we click here and we roll all the way to the bottom, you'll see that there is an example of Freightliners and Kenworths here. And as we mentioned, this is going to eventually expand to all North American made commercial trucks, and we will have all the years in there. For right now, for the purpose of our demonstration, let's say we're looking at a Freightliner. We want to then look at a 2015 Cascadia, and now we want to pick a part. And what you'll see here is you'll see all of the different categories of parts for that truck. And so this allows people to very quickly find the part that they're looking for. Now, we've also built this with components. You'll notice here there's Caterpillar engine, there's components here, there is other engines, and there is also transmission. So let's say that we're a young parts person with very little experience, and a customer has called us and they're looking for a slave valve assembly for a transmission. We don't even know what that is, but we go to the transmission section. We click here, and the customer did provide us with the model number. So in this case, it's an FAO 15810C. That model number is on the tag and is usually most people know where to find that information. So they've given that to our young parts person. Our young parts person still doesn't know what a slave valve assembly is, but they now are able to click here and click slave valve. And what they get is they get this. It's an exploded parts view, which if you click on, you can actually look at in more detail. And it gives you all the different parts. And now this is original artwork by our team, painstakingly made to verify accuracy. We roll down here and we click this A5000 slave valve assembly, and it automatically connects to Truck Parts Cross. And now it's crossing this for us. We click on that A5000, and now we have 2 pages of different options that we can offer the customer.
The description here, slave valve for a 13-speed transmission, now makes our young parts person with little to no experience sound smart. He can say, hey, is that a 13-speed transmission, which is not very common, and the mechanic is going to be totally surprised. Now all they have to do is select either the aftermarket manufacturer, or there's also international and Mac Volvo numbers. So there's even truck OE numbers there in the system. They select the one that works for them, and they are able to supply the customer with the part that they were looking for, all with little to no experience. Now, something I wanted to point your attention to is that you can do a reverse lookup. So if you type slave valve here and hit enter, it'll take a moment for the system to populate this information. But this is truly a reverse lookup. We've just taken a nondescript description, and it doesn't identify a part number by any means, and we put it in the system. And now this is going to give us all the part numbers of slave valve assemblies and give us the information we need. Here, when you roll down, you see all the model numbers, and you'll see that not all model numbers have the same part. They don't all have the A5000 part. Some of them also recommend the repair kit for the slave valve, the K1935, as an option. So if you didn't have the A5000 part on the shelf, but you had the repair kit, you could give that as an option to your customers.
One of the most common questions I get is, if you're going to do all this stuff for free, how do you make money? I'd like to show you Diesel Laptop's advanced parts tools, which is part of the paid platform called Truck Parts Premium. Now, currently, Truck Parts Premium has 5 different features that you can use, and this is all designed to give you the best ability to make good parts decisions, be able to have inventory that is accurate, that you don't have unnecessary duplications, and that you can put money back into your business. This is really a business development and sales tool for you to work on internally in your own business, and also to use the tool on behalf of your customers. So let me show you the platform. So what can you do with mass cross? Well, you can quickly cross thousands of part numbers, and you can reduce the cost of doing competitive price quotes for your customers. When you currently get a competitive price quote and your customer wants you to quote on a lot of part numbers, they may give you a list of a few hundred or even a couple thousand part numbers. This is a painstaking and labor-intensive activity of crossing all of that information and then being able to quote on it. And mass cross makes that process go a lot quicker. You start with your list. Put it in an Excel spreadsheet, and all you need is part number and description. You upload it to our system on Truck Parts Premium, and once you've uploaded that, you have the opportunity to make sure that the part numbers are matched. It auto-populates for you. You match anything that needs to have a little more clarity, and that's why we include the description. So for example, you might have a 3122 wiper blade. Well, that digits 3122. They are used in a lot of different part numbers, and so the system will ask you to verify that part, and you can see that it's a 22-inch wiper blade, so you pick the part number with the description 22-inch wiper blade, and it matches, and then it'll cross for you. When you're all done, you submit the file and you will get an email, and what you get in return is this. You get a spreadsheet back, and what it gives you is it gives you the source part number, it gives you the direct crosses, and it also will give you indirect crosses. So in this example, we have an LF 14000 NN Fleet Guard filter for a Cummins engine that directly crosses to a BD 50000, which is a Baldwin spin-on filter, a direct cross. And you'll also find an indirect cross to a Terex filter, part number 3063430. What this means is that this same Cummins engine is used in multiple different types of vehicles, and you can all cross it to one part number that you have on the shelf, and you can supply all of those different pieces of equipment with that one part number. So imagine being able to do that thousands of times with just a few minutes, just a few clicks of the mouse and uploading a file. Tremendously changes the whole experience of doing a competitive quote on a lot of different part numbers. Next, I'd like to introduce you to inventory analysis. Now, inventory analysis is a great internal and external tool. It helps you identify frozen capital, which means identify duplications in your inventory, duplications that you're not even aware of, and be able to make intelligent decisions about inventory reduction without sacrificing sales and without adding to downtime to your customers or your fleet because you don't have the right part on the shelf. Now, what you do with inventory analysis is you start off with a list of parts that you want to analyze. You have your part number, your description, a manufacturer, and you include your cost. And once you've got that spreadsheet, now we come to the next step. This will be a self-serve feature like the rest of the features on Truck Parts Premium in the future, but for right now, our team's going to do all the work for you. All you have to do is submit your file to invanalysis@diesellaptops.com. I will receive a copy of it so that I'm aware that you've selected this option, and Nate is going to get a copy of it, and he's going to assign one of his team members to do the analysis for you. The turnaround time currently is coming in at 72 hours, and so we will get a report back to you within that time frame. And the report that we're going to send you is going to give you the information you need. It's going to analyze your inventory, break it down into its components. It's going to project how much money you can actually convert back into cash over time. It's going to help you make margin decisions. For example, if you have two parts on the shelf that you want to continue to stock those duplicates, but they're comparable brands, they're comparable quality, you can look at those part numbers and say, well, we're selling, this one light at $1.55 each, and we're selling this other light from a comparable manufacturer at $1.35, and we're losing margin there. What we have found is that most of the people we work with on inventory analysis have between 5 and 10% of their inventory is duplicate, and it's duplicates they're unaware of. We're not talking about the duplicates that are intentional. These are truly an opportunity for you to reduce inventory and convert money into cash and put it back into the business. We also find that we can help people increase their margin by on average around 2%. So this represents significant opportunities for finding frozen capital, increasing margin, and improving the profitability of your business. So along with the report, you also get the actual spreadsheet where it identifies the specific part numbers where you have duplications. This is one that I recently did for an actual customer, and they had some part numbers, 274 in fact, where they had duplications that they weren't aware of. On this slide, you can see that there's a tensioner pulley where they were stocking it 4 different ways. There's also a hood latch assembly where they're stocking it 4 or 5 different ways. And so now that those parts have been identified, some of those they weren't aware were actual duplicates. Now that they are, through our indirect cross, they can make some decisions about which parts they want to stock, how much they want to sell them for, and which parts they want to eliminate from their inventory and convert back into cash. Remember that the inventory analysis tool is not just for your own inventory, but this, as a salesperson, is a tool that you can take to your customers who are stocking inventory, and you can have a new business development conversation with them, and you can use this tool on their behalf to be able to help them manage their inventory, thereby increasing your value in your customers' eyes, where it is so difficult to find differentiation today on the products that you sell because so many people are selling the same products. So this allows you to be head and shoulders above your competition. Now, what can you do with compare manufacturer feature? Well, with the compare manufacturer feature, really allows you to take 2 different truck manufacturers or 2 different parts manufacturers and quickly identify which parts are identical and which parts are unique within those 2 groups of manufacturers. So what you do is you select, for example, in this case, we're going to compare Kenworth and Peterbilt, the PACCAR line, against Mack Volvo. But you could just as easily put in Gabriel shocks versus Monroe shocks, or one suspension against another suspension manufacturer. Parts manufacturers and truck manufacturers are interchangeable in this box. So you just type in what you want to compare, and then you submit the report. Once you've asked the system to generate your report, a report will be emailed to you. What you get emailed to you is two reports. The first report identifies all the part numbers that are identical within the comparison. The other report gives you all the part numbers that are unique. Now, there's a couple things that you can do with this information. So I'd like to give you the scenario of you're working with one of your customers. They have a mixed fleet and you're analyzing their inventory and you look and you say, look, we want to compare. You've got a couple Macs, but you've also got some Kenworths and you've got a couple Petes. And we want to compare what inventory that you're currently stocking is going to be used for all of those vehicles regardless of make. And we can consolidate your inventory so that you don't have unnecessary duplication. We can also identify which parts are truly unique to that brand and perhaps are even captive and you have to buy, for example, from the dealership. What ends up happening over time for your customer is they buy parts from a lot of different people, they start stocking it under different part numbers, and they may be overpaying for a part that they think they have to buy directly from a truck OE dealer, when in fact it's available in the aftermarket, it's available in a quality line, and it's available that they only have to stock it once, and they can use it on their Kenworths, on their Petes, and on their Macs or Volvos. There's actually a lot more part numbers than you would think that are identical when you compare truck manufacturers. And the reason is that these truck manufacturers are using parts manufacturers to make all the parts that they use when they build the truck. And so there's a lot of duplication. There's a lot of situations where one parts manufacturer is making the part, but they're relabeling it and they're sending it to the dealers. They're sending it to aftermarket under a different part number, and people just lose track of which parts are the same. This allows you to, on behalf of your customer, to make some really smart decisions about which parts they should be stocking, which parts you should be stocking. Now, another scenario, let's say that you want to evaluate as a reseller of parts, two different lines of parts, and you want to see which line gives you the best coverage based on the customers that you have in your regional area. With compare manufacturer, you can accomplish that very, very quickly. If you start with a clean database, then the whole process is just a lot easier for you. And so if you're going to use these advanced features, for example, mass cross or inventory analysis or compare manufacturer, we already build in the cleanup function in those features. But we wanted to make the cleanup function available for you as a standalone feature. So if you have an inventory and we'll call it a dirty database and you want to clean it up, this is how you do it. You take your spreadsheet with part number, description, and manufacturer. You go to the system and you upload it here, and you get an auto-populated list of part number where you match any ones that need to be matched, and also manufacturers where you match those to make sure that it is accurate. What you get back is a spreadsheet with a completely cleaned database for you. So in this one example, for some reason, someone put a slash in between ABP and N25. This is a very common 127760 2-inch clutch brake. That part number just simply becomes ABP N25, cleaning out that unnecessary slash. Now, this can be done thousands of times in just a few moments. And now you have a clean database. The final feature that's available is mass VMRS. VMRS codes have been around since the 1970s, but they are becoming more and more important to larger and larger fleets. And therefore, this is something that you may need to do within your inventory to do business with those larger customers. So the mass VMRS allows you to get access to a customer that requires you to have VMRS codes, and it links all of your part numbers to a standardized VMRS code automatically. And this is how it works. You start off with your exported list that you want to code. You want to put in part number, description, and manufacturer, those three columns. You submit it to our system and it auto-populates, and you go through the same process of matching any part numbers or manufacturers that you need to. And what you get back is a report, an Excel spreadsheet that is sortable and that has your entire inventory, and it has provided you with all the codes automatically instead of having to key it one at a time manually. So as an example, if you had an AS1132 in your list, it's a slack adjuster, it's manufactured by Gunite, and the VMRS code is 013-017-000. And there you go, your inventory has been coded. Truck Parts Premium is our paid subscription platform, and here is the pricing. If you are a single user, it is $299.99 per month. If you wanted to add a couple more additional users, it's $149.99 per additional user. This is a 12-month subscription, but you can pay for it monthly. If you'd like to save a little bit of money and pay for the whole year all at once, you can save 10%. If you are an enterprise user, we have 2 levels of enterprise pricing. Between 20 and 49 users, you pay a flat fee of $3,000 per month. And if you are over 49 users, so 50 and up, you are an unlimited user and it's a flat fee of $5,000 per month. Again, if you want to pay for the whole year all at once, you get an additional 10% discount, and enterprise level pricing is a 12-month commitment as well. Thank you very much for your attention to this demonstration. We really want you to start using Truck Parts Cross. Go to truckpartscross.com. Truck Parts Lookup, go to truckpartslookup.com. And if you're interested in getting signed up for Truck Parts Premium, then go to truckpartspremium.com and you will be able to schedule an appointment with our sales team, and we will onboard you with this platform, and we look forward to working with you and helping you with your business.